Hello everyone, welcome to my spoiler video on Deadpool and Wolverine. And let's start off by saying we got Tiny Wolverine. I'll just go ahead and start off with that one. Like, that is the one thing that stood out in my mind. It's the fact that we got Tiny Wolverine. We actually got comic book accurate height Wolverine. That was so funny. Anyway, but the movie starts off with basically desecrating the corpse of Logan. Come on, man, really? You just start by desecrating Logan's corpse. Like, I mean, look, people are scared that this movie is gonna be disrespectful towards Logan. But it's Deadpool. Of course it's gonna be disrespectful to Logan. What do you expect? However, I will also say this popped into my head. A small negative about the movie is the fact that the Deadpool characters, they don't really get to do much in this movie. Because of the fact of the multiverse, the TVA, and all that stuff, it kind of just like pushes away the actual Deadpool characters. Like, we don't get Colossus, Dopinder, Vanessa really all that much. They're in the bit in the beginning, bit at the end, but throughout the movie, the only time we see them is a picture. So it's a bit of a negative, but I didn't want to say that in the spoiler-free review because the fact that that could have been counted as a spoiler. However, I will say this. When we are searching for Wolverine, someone kind of looked familiar. I didn't quite put my finger on it, but when Deadpool said something, he was kind of like already off screen, so I couldn't really get a good look at his face. But Deadpool's like, you know, we'll treat you much better than you were treated across the street. And at that moment I was like, that's Henry Cavill as Wolverine, isn't it? Oh my god, Henry Cavill as Wolverine. There's no way. I mean, when he said that, I was already thinking about DC. But to see him in this movie was great. And next up, I love the fake out that they did, where they have Chris Evans just show up in this movie. Chris Evans is in this movie, and you just see his face. And then Deadpool's like, you know, he's ready. He's gonna say the line at the same time as Chris Evans, and then Deadpool's like, Avengers, and Chris Evans is like, flame on. And it's like, oh my god, that's the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four movie. Oh, and then we also get Blade in this movie, and we get Elektra in this movie. That was the one in the spoiler-free review that I was talking about, because I know that Elektra was already confirmed to be in the movie, but I didn't know how many people knew it, so I kind of like went a bit more spoiler-free-ish, because, you know, it's like, why did we have to pick you? Couldn't we have picked someone better? That was based on her specifically, because her movie wasn't good. I will say that right now. I like the 2003 Daredevil movie. I don't like her movie, though. However, she was fine in this movie. She was basically just a cameo. But we got Gambit! Oh my god, Channing Tatum got to play Gambit. And I love that they actually make, like, real-world references to it. Because everyone is like, you know, I was born here and stuff like that. And then Gambit's just like, it feels like I was born here. And I was like, you were, because you never had a movie. I mean, we get the 3 Blade movies are now connected to the MCU multiverse. We get, like, Daredevil and Elektra connected to the universe. I know they mentioned Punisher. However, we don't know which Punisher. I mean, even Deadpool's like, there's been 5, so which one? So I'm not going to count any of the Punisher movies as connected to the MCU unless we see the character appear. They're not connected. And obviously we get Laura, aka X-23, back. She was in one of the final trailers for Deadpool and Wolverine. Just out of nowhere, they just popped her in. But I guess that's because they had Chris Evans. Which I love. How they kill off Chris Evans and then Deadpool. How Deadpool, like, gets Johnny Storm killed because Chris Evans is expensive. I love that. He was draining the budget. Oh, this movie is just so insane. But it's like all in character for Deadpool. Anyway, I love that Laura was in the movie X-23. I also like how she kind of gets basically the ball rolling for Wolverine. So she's not necessarily there just to be a cameo. And also, we kind of get to see what happened after Logan, where it's like, what happened at the end of Logan did lead to a better future for these kids. These kids were able to live in a better world because of Logan. I love that. And I guess also this confirms that now the problem is the fact that I've never really known how the continuity works for the X-Men film franchise. Now I know what you're gonna say, that it's like the continuity is garbage anyway. However, I didn't know, what I mean is I didn't know if Deadpool 1 and 2 were connected to the X-Men movies. But I guess now we can kind of just say yes. And I will personally also say that Logan is connected to that as well as the finale kind of thing. We get like Juggernaut from X-Men The Last Stand in this movie, which is like, why did you bring him back? However, he does not say I'm the Juggernaut, bitch, so he doesn't get my points. I will say that. That is the one downside, because that is the thing that he says. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. I wish he said that. Why didn't he say that? But there, like I said, there's a lot of cameos in this movie, but like Blade and Channing Tatum's Gambit were just fantastic. And even after, because I recently watched the whole X-Men the Animated Series and X-Men 97, and hearing Channing Tatum actually do the accent that Gambit has in that show, instead of just doing an American accent, was great. And you can really see that Channing Tatum really liked playing Gambit. And while Gambit in this movie has about the same screen time as Gambit did in X-Men Orange Wolverine, here they actually cared about like the special effects that Gambit has. Later on in the movie, we get a bunch of like Deadpools. Like I said, I'm gonna go all over the place in this thing. I don't care. Whatever pops into my mind in the next like 15 minutes is what I'll tell you. However, we get all of these different Deadpools. However, in Lady Deadpool was the one that everyone was like, oh, who is she being played as? Yeah, we still don't know. We still don't know. Her mask never comes off. She's just Lady Deadpool, and that's it. And I also like, apparently Nathan Fillion voices Headpool, which I thought was funny. But we get so many different Deadpool, and it is so great to see. Oh, according to Wikipedia, Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively, plays Lady Deadpool. Also, I like how they put more of the emotional weight on Wolverine. Because, like, with Deadpool, what are they gonna do outside of the fact? Because he keeps yelling about the fact, I need to save my universe. So, that is basically his whole arc. He needs to save his universe, but also kind of become a hero, even though that's been his journey throughout. He's kind of starting to turn into Wolverine, where every movie is just him trying to become a hero. But the Wolverine storyline, I thought it was good. I like the storyline where it's like, Wolverine's just like, okay, yeah, I let my whole world down. And what I basically did was, the humans came, and they ruined everything. While I was out there drinking. And then when I came back, their bodies were stacked up on a pile. And then afterwards, I just went on a murderous rampage of every human I could see. Everyone died. I like that because, you know, it's like character arc that he now has to overcome. He has to learn that he can once again become a hero. I also was getting emotional during the credits. Because during the credits, you get the behind the scene. But we get like the behind the scene stuff. During the credits, we get footage for like behind the scenes of the first X-Men movie. The Fantastic Four movie. The Daredevil movie. Yeah, you get like stuff like that. And it's just like, it just made me go like, man, what has come before? Not everything was perfect, but we did live in a good time overall. And I will miss all of you. Now, I would have liked it if Ben Affleck's Daredevil appeared, but in the movie they do say that he's dead, so who knows? Also, what was that Thor scene about with Thor crying with Deadpool in his arms? That is a thing that appears throughout the movie, but none of it works because it has no like payoff. I mean, maybe it's gonna have payoff in like a Secret Wars. You know, I mean, I know it's just a funny gag thing, probably. You know, where it's like, oh, hey, look, it's Thor the Dark World, but instead of Loki, it's Deadpool. And also, I guess a weird thing is, how can Juggernaut and Callisto, but how can these characters from, like, the previous X-Men timeline be here when that timeline doesn't exist anymore? And that's just, like, I don't know how to explain it. There's another timeline with the same characters, maybe. I don't know. But you can feel that this movie was made by people who really cared about the source material and like even like wanted to pay respect while also being Deadpool about like the stuff that came before. They portrayed Logan as, or like Wolverine as like the hero, the X-Men, but then also desecrate his grave in order to, and then use his dead body in order to fight TV agents. And also, you know, humor is humor. Some people are gonna like it, some people are not gonna like it. Like someone behind me just cracks up. Like, there were jokes where I was just, like, nothing at, and then someone behind me will, like, potentially, like, further to the top, was just like, I was like, you found that funny? Alright? Hey, each their own, right? Another thing that I really love about this movie is just the fact that the reason the whole movie happens is because Wolverine's dead. And he was the anchor point for the whole universe, and when Wolverine died, the whole universe went with it. I don't know where they got an idea like that, where it's like one character's gonna be the anchor point, and if the character dies, the universe goes with it. But I did like it. Now, I don't want them to reuse that idea ever again, because it's not that good of an idea. But in this movie, it is, and it worked really well. And we finally got the full costume, because they did give Wolverine the full costume. Because at the end of the movie, he has the mask. He gets the cowl on. And it's just such a moment. I was like, oh my god, yes! The fact that Deadpool calls it handlebars. I mean, come on. But still, he got the full-on costume. It's finally here. Finally, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Now then, let's talk about the powers that Cassandra has. Because that is, like, where I said I had, like, a small issue. It's not really an issue with her powers, necessarily. It's more the problem of the fact that if you watch, like... She's powerful. I mean, she just puts Logan in the ground and pushes him away. Like he's nothing. She kills Johnny Storm in a second. It's a comedy thing, but in a second, she just kills him. So it's like she is so powerful. It's like Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse, where he just takes a little piece of sand and just kills those guys. And it's like, oh my god, he's so powerful, but he never does any of the power, or like he takes one guy and pushes him into a wall. Never does that to any of X-Men when they are really just ruining his plans. He doesn't grab them and put them into a wall. Nope. That is kind of like the thing with Cassandra, where it's like, but she's so powerful, she could have kind of just like stopped them. But it also kind of felt like she was just toying with them because she wanted to have her own personal pleasure. Because she doesn't really get to enjoy things. But she could have just put Deadpool into the ground and pushed him away and called it a day. And Peter, man, Peter's in this movie. And he's a god in this movie. when we get the Deadpool that yells like, "Don't hurt them!" And you just see this Deadpool on a bike. I knew for a moment, I was like, that's Peter. It has to be Peter. There's no way Peter put on a Deadpool suit. And he did put on a Deadpool suit. And then it's like everyone else, every other Deadpool is like, oh my god, it's Peter. Apparently every Deadpool is supposed to love Peter. The next thing I want to talk about is a thing that I kind of had an issue with. But the movie goes through like a storyline in that sense, where it's like Deadpool basically needs to find a purpose. So Vanessa leaves him, breaks up with him, because Deadpool is basically aimless in that sense. And she doesn't feel like her and Wade are really connecting. However, when the leak came out, people were saying like, oh, Vanessa's gone. I was thinking like, okay, that's stupid. I don't like it. But also, this could be a way for them to push Vanessa to the side and introduce death, which could be a cool thing. They would, at the end of the movie, put Vanessa and Wade back together. So at least it's a good thing. So like, they're not separated forever. It's more like just like a temporary thing. I like that. However, I would like to see death. I would like to see death in a Deadpool movie as well. See how that works out. Also, we have Pyro in this movie. Now, I don't really have much to say about Pyro at all. Because Pyro to me is just like, you know, he was like this annoying kid. Basically, this bully kid in X-Men The Last Stand. But he is basically there. Like, the only time really that you get to kind of like see his powers is when he just absorbs the fire from Johnny Storm, from Human Torch. Like, that's it. Outside of that, later on, like he apparently he works behind the scenes with Paradox, who is in this movie and is a villain. I didn't necessarily talk much about him, but that's because, I don't know, he didn't really feel as important. It's just like, by the way, hey, the people at the top thought you were worth saving, but I'm gonna destroy your universe. Bye! And then Deadpool tries to just save his universe, and then he's like, yeah, no, I'm still just gonna destroy it. But when Cassandra wants to destroy it, he's like, please save it! And it's like, okay. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about Paradox, outside of the fact that he is like, he's like a comedy villain, basically. The only thing he should have said was like, you foiled my plans, Deadpool. Or something like that, in order to really be like that. Like, comic book, but like comic book villain. That's just like super like cheesy and comic booky and stuff like that. But that's Paradox. To be honest, the more interesting villain in the movie is Cassandra Nova. because she is just a horrible person. Wolverine basically gives her a second chance, and what does she do? She's like, I'm gonna destroy the whole multiverse until like only the Void remains, which I actually like that most of the movie takes place in the Void, which I kind of find weird because I thought the whole Void stuff was something that we wouldn't go to anymore at the end of Loki. We go into the Void and we get this whole like Mad Max Deadpool movie, and I thought that was great too. And we even get that Void monster whose name I forgot. We get that thing back again as well. Like, I don't remember that thing's name. Look, there's a lot of cameos and a lot of awesome Deadpool and Wolverine stuff in this movie. I can't be asked to remember everything after watching a movie once and basically forgetting the first season of Loki, because I personally didn't like Loki until season 2 came along. But we get that monster back as well. It's like, it's great. And also I love how like she killed like a variant of Doctor Strange in order to get like one of those like portal things. And that is how Deadpool and Wolverine escaped the Void, with one of those portal things. And I also like how Deadpool basically goes on this rant to say what Johnny allegedly said to him, you know, about Cassandra. And then in the post-credit, there is a post-credit scene in which basically Deadpool just shows the audience what Johnny said, which I thought was funny, where it's like, no, I didn't lie, that's actually what he said. I mean, the fact that he said it to Cassandra Nova still didn't need to happen, but I guess Chris Evans was eating up the budget, so yeah. I knew about the ending. I mean, it was a bit of a predictable ending. At the end of the movie, when Deadpool and Wolverine hold hands in order to basically stop everything, and then they both make it out alive, I knew that was gonna happen because, let's be honest here, Marvel finally has Hugh Jackman, and like Wolverine says in this movie, they're gonna make him play Wolverine until he's 90 years old. No matter what, unless he dies earlier. But let's pray that that doesn't happen, alright? That shouldn't happen. Wolverine is a golden treasure. There's no need that he shouldn't die early on. But they're gonna make him play until he's 90, which I also thought was funny. So let's see where they go next then, shall we? Because right now it's like, I mean, I guess, you know, like Wolverine, like Logan, this Logan retires from his like superhero life and with X-23 in order to like live a peaceful life. So it's kind of gonna be a bit like you get your estranged daughter into your house and it's just like, yeah, okay, let me just live my peaceful life with my daughter. Simple as that. But let's see where they go next. I mean, the next movie probably is gonna be Secret Wars, I guess. I was thinking maybe... That movie doesn't have a title, does it? Avengers 5. That movie doesn't have a title anymore. Because it was Kang Dynasty, but then they ruined Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And then, you know, John Majors, I think that was his name, he just became, apparently he was a horrible person, so they allegedly, I'm always gonna say allegedly because, you know, I get in trouble for saying stuff like that. So with Avengers 5, who knows what's gonna happen? I mean, we'll see that thing in 2 years. Let's see if it's actually coming out. I mean, now there's talk about the Russo brothers coming back to direct. Let's hope that they do, because at least that's someone that we could potentially trust in. Kevin Feige can put his trust in them as well, because they did a great job with Captain America and the Avengers movies. So at least like that way, like a bit of a weight is lifted. As long as like the studio execs in the background don't just go in and be like, that's what they just change it up and just do this and that and just ruin everything. Everything will be fine. Also, I like the commentary that Deadpool did about like the superhero movies nowadays, at least with the MCU, where it was like, you know, like the MCU used to be really good because it only shows scenes from like the earlier MCU stuff, and then it's like, you know, we're finally part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, we didn't join in a good time because the stuff has been not really that good, but overall, you know, we're in the MCU. And of course, the feminist Deadpool would love the new stuff that Marvel's made. But let's see if Marvel can bounce back. I mean, this movie could be the beginning of what comes, but don't take this movie as being like, this is what saves the MCU. Because last year we had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but we also had The Marvels, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, Secret Invasion, we had that stuff too. We had Secret Invasion, The Marvels, and Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania in the same year as we had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So don't be one of those people online who is like, Marvel's back, baby! Because no, let's wait and see how the next couple of movies will be. Let's wait for Captain America Brave New World, whose trailer actually looks good. I'm just gonna say that. It looks good, but who knows? Movie could still be bad, but the trailer looks good. And also Thunderbolts. Let's see how those movies are gonna be before we put any faith in the fact that Marvel could potentially be back. However, the next project is sadly enough Agatha. Why? Agatha All Along. That was the title. Starting in September. I might do a review for that in November as well, when I've seen everything, because I'm just gonna wait until the whole thing's out. I mean, I don't want to watch it, but it's the MCU, so I watch basically everything that is live action, because I haven't seen What If, and I'm not going to. I'm not gonna watch Marvel Zombies or Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man or whatever that show was called, or like anything like that. Like, I just need live action stuff, and that's it. But sadly enough, this is not animation, so I have to watch it. But back to this movie. Overall, it was great. They paid a lot of respect and also did Deadpool things with the past. I'll say that right now, because I mean, making fun of stuff is Deadpool's bread and butter. I mean, if you watch the other two Deadpool movies, you know that that is what it is. So if you're gonna be like, oh yeah, look, they have like Chris Evans back as Johnny Storm, and he's gonna be treated with respect, you're an idiot, because Deadpool was never gonna be that kind of guy. He would turn everything into a joke. But not everything in this movie is a joke, because it also has a lot of heart. And that's where my 9 out of 10 comes from, because this movie also has a lot of heart, while also having a lot of cameos. But that has been the spoiler talk, so comment down below all of the spoilers. You can just let the floodgates open up. Spoilers are in session. Let the spoilers flow through you and onto the comment section, because you're now allowed to talk spoilers, unlike the last video. So tell me what you thought of Deadpool and Wolverine. Spoiler heavy filled. You can say the things that you liked, what you didn't like. Look, just because of the fact that we have different opinions does not mean we need to hate each other, okay? I may think that this movie is a 9 out of 10, but then you have, like, I think it was GameSpot that gave it a 4. Now, I think they're wrong, but it's their opinion to have. So you guys, comment down below, let me know what you guys think, but be nice. But that has been my spoiler talk. So, with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching, and I do hope you guys have enjoyed, and if you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new or if you're not done so already. Turn on notifications, don't forget to check out the Let's Play channel, link to the description, and at the end of the video. And as always, stay tuned for more. I don't know what my next review will be. It could be for Venom. Venom's upcoming, so potentially it could be Venom for the Venom movies, which I will then also do a spoiler talk and non-spoiler review, just in order to really get my thoughts out. But it could also be Agatha All Along. I don't know. I don't want to make that video though, but I have to, so we're just gonna go into that stuff. But anyway, that has been it for me. Like I said, let the spoilers flow. Bye!